or a scarf. Maybe I'll make a matching scarf. Would that be cute? Chat, let me know. Hi friends, welcome to Funshine Fab Crochet. I am Kelsey and this is my crochet corner. And today we are mixing it up because I am actually going to crochet in this crochet corner. If you watch my other videos, you know, you can usually find me in the living room. This morning, I woke up with the idea that I wanted to go to the thrift store and find yarn to crochet a dress with. I wanted to make a whole dress out of nothing but thrifted yarn. However, I went to the thrift store and there were no skeins of yarn, and I mean nothing. Luckily, there was a Dollar Tree next door, so I just scooted on over to the Dollar Tree, and now this video is all about making an entire dress from yarn I found at the Dollar Tree. So let's do a Dollar Tree yarn haul. So this is the Premier Just Yarn. I assume they only sell this at the Dollar Tree because it has a $1.25 price right on the label. 100% acrylic, of course. If this was cotton, I would be shocked to my core. It's 109 yards. This yarn is surprisingly soft. There's the black one. This one's kind of like an ivory color. The color name is Cream. Before looking at the color name, I would describe this as a pale peach. Light apricot. Excited about that one. This one's called Pale Pink. This color is named Yellow, and rightfully so, because she is yellow. Now we're getting into the more exciting stuff. The colors I liked better. This one is called Ballet Slipper. Cute. I think it's kind of more of a purple than a pink. I would have called this one Ballet Slipper if you made me name one of these Ballet Slipper. This one's especially soft. The name of this color is Turquoise, and fittingly so. Eggplant, also a great name. This one also feels especially soft. Maybe they're all just really soft, okay? I think we all sing. Does anybody get that reference? This color is called Forest. If you know me, you know this is one of my favorite colors. This one is not usually the kind of color I go for, but I really like this one. It is called Classic Blue. I'm not sure there's anything classic about it. It's kind of like a gray slate blue kind of vibe. So I think I want to do thicker stripes all the way down rather than quick changing, like a row of one color and then a row of the next, row of the next. I think I want to do several rows of one color and then multiple rows of the next color and so on and so forth. When I was just shopping at the Dollar Tree, I was like, these colors are not gonna look good together. But then I put them all together and I was like, not bad, not bad. I'm gonna start with H8, size 5 hook. I think it would probably be best if I went pale color, darker color, pale color, darker color, at least for a time. Yeah, I'm just inclined to start with the, what color was it? Light apricot. Not to be confused with pale peach or whatever I said. And I'm gonna get her naked. I don't usually do that. I don't know why I did it just now. And I pull from the center. Anybody else? I see a lot of people pulling from the outside. I'm a center pearl. Oh my gosh. I'm a center pull girl. Okay, I'm gonna count for a sec. Okay, I chained 82 times and then I just slip stitched back into that first chain. I'm gonna chain 1 and then half double all the way around. Oh, and also if you're like, is that enough yarn to make a whole dress? Quite frankly, I have no idea. I just got one of every one of these and I was like, we'll see if that's enough. I would prefer for this dress to be midi length, I think. If this is only enough yarn to make it mini length, I can live with that too. The entire goal though is just to have a whole dress crocheted only with Dollar Tree yarn. So all we know for sure is I will not dip into my regular yarn stash to finish it. I will go back to the Dollar Tree and get some more. And all this yarn, tax and all, was $13.66 and it's 11 skeins. If this is enough yarn to make a dress, it'll have cost less than $14 and some good old-fashioned elbow grease, of course. I don't have a TV to watch while I'm in here crocheting, so I hope you're ready to hear some chit chat. Oh, and also, when I discovered the thrift store didn't have any yarn for sale, I was like, oh, I'll look at the clothes, the t-shirts. I'll see if there's something I can get and wear for Halloween. I mentioned this in a video the other day. The thrift stores here are so expensive for no reason. There was a dress, and yeah, it was brand new. It had the tags on it. It was $31.99. Like, come on. You got this for free. Humble yourself. Obviously, I bought nothing. 82 half doubles. I know exactly what pattern I want to make, and the whole dress is going to be half doubles. But instead of chaining one and rotating my work, I'm going to chain one and just start working into the first stitch. So don't rotate if you want it to look like this. I don't know if there is a name for this. Well, I'm sure there's a name for it, but I don't know what the name is. Instead of half double crocheting into the back loop only, you go behind the back loop of the last half double crochet, and or the last half double crochet row, I guess, and it is there's just one little loop back there to half double into, and it leaves this really pretty knit like stitch. So if anybody knows the name of this stitch, please tell me. Also, anytime you crochet into one loop instead of two, it always makes your pieces extra stretchy and like extra flowy. They're not as stiff. I doubt I will do the entire video in here. Like, I doubt I'm gonna be able to crochet this entire dress sitting here, mostly because as it gets heavier, my arms are gonna wanna rest in my lap while I crochet. I'm curious to see how far 109 yards of yarn goes. In row 2, I did add 2 increases in that row, and I'm going to be adding increases in about every row because I want this dress to be loose fitting once it gets to the waist and beyond. Mostly because I used to make these dresses tighter, and they're tight on the gut, and my gut's not going anywhere, people. I love to eat. But also, I want this to be a fall dress, fall vibes, so I kind of plan on probably just making it have a thin strap, but then wearing it on top of like solid colored t-shirts or long sleeve shirts. So I'll need to make it looser to fit on top of other stuff. You get the vibes. That is the end of row 3. I only added 1 increase in that last row. Something I love about recording myself crocheting is knowing roughly how many hours it takes me to make something, because I've never really timed myself, so it's informative. My last video making the cardigan, I made that cardigan in less than 24 hours, and I was really, really, really proud of myself. But it did make my hands hurt, so I had to take a little hiatus. When I add increases in these dresses, I typically try to only add them to the sides. Did you hear my shoulder pop? I try to only add the increases to the sides because they're more hidden. Because if you put them right in the center, sometimes you can see that it creates a bigger gap in that little loop that you're crocheting into. That is the end of row 4. Let's assess. Feels like I've used somewhere between half and 2/3 if I had to guess. You know, I wanted to go to the park and crochet there today on camera, but it was stormy this morning. So I was like, well, maybe I'll just go thrifting for yarn. And then I get home with all this yarn, and wouldn't you know, it's just so bright and beautiful and sunny outside. My phone said it was gonna rain all day. I saw a video of a group of people doing crochet and knitting hot takes, like unpopular opinions, I guess. And one of the comments said, my hot take is you should always use a crochet hook smaller than what's recommended on the label of the yarn. And I was like, I don't think I've ever looked at the hook size recommendation on a label. So I'm gonna look into that. And I did, and she was right. Yeah, okay, so these say I should use a 5.5 millimeter. That's only one size bigger than this, but I don't know why you'd use one so loose when the yarn is not that thick. Or I guess I meant to say, I don't know why you'd use a hook that big when the yarn is not that thick. And a girl that was in that same video said her crochet hot take was she doesn't like color changing yarn. She likes to do it herself. And honestly, I kind of have to agree with that one too. But if I'm not looking for a specific color scheme and the yarn changes colors very quickly, like that cardigan I made in my last video, I mess with that kind of yarn. I like that. The end of row 5, it's definitely gonna go around again, so I'm gonna let it. When I was checking out at the Dollar Tree, the girl said, the cashier said, I'm guessing you crochet? And I was like, I do. And she was like, did you crochet your shirt? And I said, I did. And she was like, I love it. I saw you through the window when you were walking up. And then part of me was tempted to be like, I'm gonna pull my car up by the window because I want you to see all the rainbow crochet stuff inside. But then I was like, that seems kind of crazy. And there were people behind me in line. Could you imagine ringing up and there's someone outside like honking their horn? Like, that'd be embarrassing. I'm not sure why, but I always forget that the Dollar Tree has some fairly high quality yarn for the price. The fuzzy yarns they have right now are really, really, really soft and nice. They also have some chenille yarns or like the velvety or whatever. But when you have a husband who hates the way velvet feels, you never get to use it or wear it. Selfish. I actually can totally understand why velvet gives some people the chill bumps and it's like nails on a chalkboard apparently. Because I feel that way about metal, like spoons and forks. When they touch my teeth. There's the end of row 6. I have enough yarn to go around again. I'm gonna count how many are in this row so I can tell you how many increases I've added. Get ready for some fast forwarding because I can't talk while I count. And that is the end of row 7. So I counted as I went around and there are 92 stitches now. And I started with 82 if you remember. So I've added 10 increases. I think it's gonna go around one more time. So I'm gonna add another row and then I'll call it quits with this color. That is the end of row 8. I feel like it would go around again, but I'm just gonna go ahead and cut it. Snip. Okay, let's do classic blue next. I'm not sure why I keep stripping them. I'm weaving in my ends as I go. Hope I don't mess up. It's already getting so heavy that I want to go sit in the living room and crochet there. These colors objectively are not very cute together, but I think once I get more colors going, we'll see the potential. The vibes will be there. That is the end of row 9. I didn't add any increases in that row, just to give it a break, but I will in the next one. Sorry if you can hear the air conditioning blowing through the vents. It's especially loud in here because the vent is right next to me. My videos are always noisy. Surely no one is coming here for peace and quiet. I'm trying to decide if I want to cut this yarn at the end of this row so that I can maybe use it twice on this dress rather than just one thick stripe. And that is the end of row 11. I think I'm gonna do one more row of this blue and then I'm gonna cut it so that I can do 2 stripes of it instead of just the one. This chair, I love it. I'm obsessed. Aesthetically, she's beautiful. Practically, she's awful. My back hurts so bad to sit in this chair for a long time. You're not getting a cracker. And that's the end of row 12. Location change, yeah. I had to come in here because it was getting too heavy to hold up on camera. Plus it's comfy in here and there's a TV. I think next I'm gonna do this purpley color, what was she called again? Ballet slipper. Matter of opinion. Row 13 finished, my favorite number. I say that in every video in which I count the rows for you. It is gonna storm now. I did that whole spiel about how I was gonna crochet at the park and then it got sunny. Well, now it's gonna storm. The end of row 14. I'm kind of sorry if you can hear the rain outside, but I'm also not sorry fully because it sounds amazing. It's coming down, friends. I do see a little blue sky. I bet there's a rainbow out there somewhere. I'm not gonna get up and look because I'm lazy, but I bet there is one though. If you're looking at this dress thinking, Kelsey, is this gonna be a tube dress with no straps? The answer is no, I just haven't made the straps yet. This is the best weather for crocheting. Oh. The end of row 15. And I am still adding increases, just for the record. That is the end of row 16. I did indeed count as I went around to see how many increases I had done, and we are up to 107 stitches. That is the end of row 17. I think going forward, I'm only gonna add one increase in every row. That was the end of row 18. I'm gonna make at least one more round with the purple. I'm watching a review on YouTube of season 1 of Bret Michaels' Rock of Love. Please tell me someone else watched that show. Way too young to be watching reality TV shows. Just me. Snip. That was the end of row 19. We're adding straps. There are my straps. So you can kind of tell. Looks like a top right now, but of course it will be a dress. Just give it a chance. I'm thinking we're gonna go with forest. And that is row 21, if you count the strap up here being a row. If I could describe these colors, it's half Easter, half fall. And that is the end of row 22. That is the end of row 23. You ever seen that Jim Carrey movie? The number 23? That's the end of row 24. Given the length of this and the amount of yarn I have left, I'm pretty confident that it is going to make a mini dress. I think we have enough yarn. I get so bored using the same color for a long time. Snip. That is the end of row 25. I'm going to start with turquoise. That's the end of row 26. I love these two colors together. Mia was looking at this yarn like she wanted to play with it. That is the end of row 27. It's that time of day where the sun hits that mirror and absolutely blinds me. The end of row 28. I've still been just adding one increase in every row. So I'm going to count this row and see how many stitches again. That is row 29, and I had 120 stitches around. And that was row 30. That is row 31. 32 rows. Day 2, friends, we're back and better than ever. I don't know what that means, but let's finish this dress together. I went up a hook size. I'm gonna start this next color with a 5.5. And that next color in question, I think it's gonna be this yellow. It's noisy outside, I couldn't be more sorry. That was row 32. I counted as I went around and there were 125 stitches in the round. I accidentally said the last row was row 32. It was definitely row 33, and this is row 34. Also yesterday when I showed Austin all the skeins of yarn, he told me that the black stood out, like it didn't fit the vibe. And now I'm like, oh, maybe I shouldn't use the black one. Or maybe I should use it last. I don't know. It's got me all worried. 35, 36, 37. I'm gonna cut this one here so maybe I can use the yellow yarn twice. Here's how much yellow we have left. I'm gonna go back and do more blue. So 38, 39. I'm uncertain that the blue is gonna go all the way around again, but I'm gonna try. Snip. Row 40, there was indeed enough blue yarn to go around again. In fact, there's this much left. Pink next. I knew from the jump that I wanted to separate this pale pink and the pale apricot. What was it called? Light apricot, whatever. The color that I used at the beginning, because they're both so similar. So I am glad I did that. Sunday is the first dog I've ever had with a tail. Isn't that interesting? Every dog I've ever had has had it cut off or whatever they do when they're puppies. Row 41. I went up one hook size and I have stopped adding increases entirely, and that was row 42. I just realized that we have leftover chickpea penne pasta from last night. So I'm gonna eat that. I'm sorry this video has been lacking in chit chat in the second half. I had no idea that all my neighbors were gonna pull out their noisiest equipment and get to work today. I don't really have much to say anyway. I kind of got it all out yesterday. But I will tell you, at Aldi they have penne. That's what I was just telling you about. They have penne at Aldi that is made of chickpeas, and it is so good. It's not the same texture as traditional pasta, but it is much lower in calorie. Also, Aldi has really good pesto, if you like pesto. And together, chef's kiss, baby, they're delicious. That's what we had last night for dinner. And then after dinner last night, we made these little, well, Austin made these little peanut butter cake things, but I forgot about it and left the little dish with like a little bit of leftover in it sitting in the living room. And then I went to take a shower. And when I got out of the shower, I could hear this like scooting noise over and over and over and over. And I was like, what is happening? So when I got out of the shower, I looked, and Sunday was licking that dish. She was eating the leftovers, and she thought she was going to be in trouble, but of course she wasn't. It was my fault. I left it out, and all the ingredients were stuff that she could have, so no big deal. I actually let her get a few extra licks in, and you could tell she was like, oh, okay, I'm not in trouble for this. I can take one look at this dress so far and tell you that there are a million other color schemes I would have chosen before this one, but I don't hate it. It's the ugly kind of cute that I love, where it's like funky. It looks a little bit like scraps. Row 43. I think I'm gonna probably use the pink until there is no pink left to use. This side seam looks crazy, to be honest. Which is funny because I posted on my Instagram about this dress I made a couple years ago. It's all rainbow, pastel. Honestly, color scheme, amazing. It's the only thing I've ever made that was like a one shoulder style dress. And I made a post about it on Instagram that was like, I spent all these hours making this dress just for it to have an ugly side seam. I don't think the sale came from that post. I think it was just totally a coincidence, but someone bought the dress the next day and I was like, oh, now I feel bad for bullying this dress. Row 44, row 45. Sorry if you hear Austin in the shower. 46. Here's how much pink I had left. Not bad. Austin really psyched me out about using the black when he said it didn't match. I'm gonna go ahead with this dark purple. I act like this is some kind of life-altering choice. Okay, I am indeed gonna go up one hook size. One more time. Row 47, row 48, row 49. Did the lighting change? I had to go run an errand, but we're back at it now. That was row 50, row 51. I'm just gonna try and do as much of it as possible without incorporating black or white. I think black and or white would completely change the vibe of the dress. So let's see what we can do without. There is a good chance though I will just try this dress on after I get finished with the green and it'll just be long enough. So row 53. Snip. That green only went around twice and there's that much left, but that's okay. Just to be so super duper safe about the length, before I go try it on, am gonna add 1 or 2 rows or however many rows this yellow will allow. I think it is time to try her on. Okay, first of all, I have self-tanner on my upper body and not on my back or legs. So if I'm 2 different colors on camera, that's because I'm 2 different colors in real life. Also, I have to weave this last little piece in. I didn't do that. Here's the ugly side seam. There's her only flaw. But the rest of it, I'm obsessed. I think the color scheme turned out great. I'm glad that I decided not to use the black or white yarn, which also means, by the way, that this dress costs less than $12, tax and all, because I didn't use 2 of the skeins, but also have a lot of the yarn left over. In fact, let me show you how much yarn I have left over. So, of course, I have both the black and the white skeins. We didn't use those, so obviously they're still around. But I also have all this yarn. I mean, that would make at least 1 hat or bag or a scarf. Maybe I'll make a matching scarf. Would that be cute? Chat, let me know. I would have never chosen the color scheme myself, but when it's the only colors I had to choose from, it's not bad. It's not bad. Well, thank you for sticking around to the end of the video, my friends. I appreciate you watching this making a dress on a Dollar Tree budget video. Thanks for watching, and I will see you soon. Bye. There is a neon yellow caterpillar on my ceiling. How'd it get in here? I can tell you how it's gonna get out. In a glass with my hand on top.